Uh, Hello everyone. In a previous lecture, we will discuss about the basic requirements, needs, essential things about the material handling equipments. Also, we have seen the basic classification of cranes as we are focusing on overhead traveling electronic overhead traveling cranes. So we have discussed according to that. Now, while selecting any uh, transmission system, material handling system, few things are very important. That first thing was the application. Now here the second thing is very important thing is a type of material. Which material to be handled? The method of material handling equipment is to be adopted or choice of equipment for the material handling system primarily depends upon the type of material to be handled. It is therefore very important to know that about the different type of materials and their characteristics which are related to methods and equipments used for their handling. So, in this today's lecture, we will discuss about these characteristics and the classification of the materials. Because while designing, we have to consider their characteristics or the loads, how we can use it. So that can be used in a further designs. So basically, there are different type of materials which are normally going to be transferred uh, with it can be based on the different forms. First one is a gas, second one is a liquid, third one is a semi-liquid, and fourth one is a solid. For liquid, we are generally for liquid we can consider characteristics like density, viscosity, freezing and boiling points, corrosion temperature, inflammability, etc. etc. For example, of common industrial liquids which are going to transfer are water, mineral oil, acids, alkanes, chemicals, and the semi common semi liquids are slurry, slaverage, mud, pulp, paste. So these are the some kind of liquids we are generally handled. About the gases, gases are generally handled in a and tight and where it is required. It should be pressure resisting containers. However, the most common method of handling a very large volume of gas are through the pipes with the help of compressor, blower, etc. This process is also known as a pneumatic conveyor or pneumatic conveying. With about the liquids, we know that the different characteristics which we are considering, and the liquids and semi-liquids are handled in a tight or open container which may be fitted with the facilities like insulation, heat, cooling, agitation, etc. As it may be required a character of the liquid. When the large quantity of these stable liquids or semi-liquids are generally conveyed to the pipes using submersible pumps, which is commonly known as a hydraulic conveying mechanism. About the solids, solids are form the majority of material which are the handling in the industry situation. Solids are classified into two major groups, unit load or bulk load that depend upon the material. When we say unit load, it can be formed solid of various sizes, shapes and weights. Some of these are counted by number of pieces like machine parts, molding boxes, then fabricated items, and traded goods like courier, bags, packages, item, etc. And the material which handle in a masses like forest product, structures, pig ions. These are some examples of unit load. The specific characteristics of these unit load uh, about, we can say, overall dimension, shape, piece weight, temperature, inflammability, strength, etc. etc. The hoisting equipment or the truck are generally we are using to handle this unit load. Certain type of conveyors are also particularly used for cartoon or packages item that can be handled, or metallic log products like angles and rods. So that's why we are using those such like trucks and conveyors. Normally, unit load is classified based on the Bureau of Indian Standards specific number IS 8005-1976. Based on the shape of the load, it could be a basic uh, geometric form like a rectangle, cylindrical, and then a conical, spherical, etc. Second, the typical or usual form like pallets, plates, containers, bells, and shacks. So again, third type, irregular form like objects with a flat base, dimensions similar or overall size, load on the rollers, wheels, and uneven shapes. Then second classification, position position of CG of the load, if it is properly stable or unstable. Third one, based on the mass of load, it could be in a three steps from 0 to 2.4 kg or more than 5000 kg. Then volume per unit, you can say for three steps, 10 steps from 1 to 10 centimeter cube to more than 10 meter cube. Then based on the type of material in contact with the conveying system like metal, wood, paper, cardboard, textile, rubber, plastic, gas, and other materials. Based on the geometrical shape, it could be the flat, convex, concave, irregular, or even then ribbed. And the physical properties like smooth, slippery, rough, hard, elastic of the base surface of the unit load. Then next type, the specific physical and chemical properties. So based on the unit load like abrasive, corrosive, dust emitted, damp or greasy, hot, cold, fragile, having sharp edges, inflammable, explosive, and etc. So such kind of chemical properties or physical properties we have to based on these type of classification is done. And the last type is the load sensitivity. A load sensitivity, you can say a pressure, shock, vibration, then it's a turning or tilting, acceleration, deceleration, cold, heat, light, radiation, and dampen, etc. So based on the load sensitivity, also the what you can say design could be variation. Then about the bulk type of material, those are in the powder form, granule or lump in a nature, and are stored in HABs. So the example of bulk material are mineral, where we are using coals or in a coal mines, then earthly materials that grieve, sand, clay, then processed material like cement, salt, chemicals, agricultural products like sugar, grain, flour, and the similar other materials which are having such kind of uh, product, such kind of physical appearance. The major characteristics of the bulk material, so far as there is a handling in concern, are lump size, bulk weight, specific weight, moisture content, then flowability, then angle of response, abrasiveness, temperature, proneness to exposure, then stickiness, foaming or dusty, corrosive, hydroscopic, etc. etc. So, because of that, the lump size in a figure number one, I have shown some particle size. So, if the particle size varies, the lump size get varies. Also lump size we can determine by using a particle size. The largest dimension size, say A, of a particle in mm, as shown in figure one, number 1. It is also called the particle size, as we discussed. If the largest to smallest size ratio of the particle of the lump material is 2.5, is above than 2.5, they can consider as unsized. Now for that we have to calculate the average lump size. The average lump size is equal to 1 half maximum particle size plus minimum particle size. So the bulk weight, or you can say bulk density of the lumpy material, is the weight of the material per unit volume in the bulk. Because of the empty space with the particles in the bulk materials, bulk density is always less than the density of the particle of the same material. Generally, the bulk load can be packed by static or dynamic load. The ratio of the bulk density of the packed material uh, to its bulk density before packing is known as a packing coefficient. Those value varies from a different bulk material and their lump sizes from 1.05 to 1.52. The bulk density is generally expressed in kg per meter cube. Then movability or flowability of the bulk material is generally determined based on the angle of response. When the bulk material is freely spilled over the horizontal plane, it assumes a conical hap. The angle theta of the cone with the horizontal is called as the angle of response. Hence, the that angle get increases, the flowability is get increases. But if you moving the material from top to bottom, then with the gravitational force it can be flow. But in few cases you have to transfer from bottom point to upper point, or you can say down to up. So in this condition, the angle is very play an important role for the transmission capacity. Okay, next one, the classification and codification of the bulk material based on the lump size, flowability, uh, abrasiveness, bulk density, and various other characteristics. From BSI specific number IS 8730 the numerical alphanumerical code, or you can say codification system, is implemented for this bulk material. So we will just discuss how the codes or coding with the bulking material has to be done. So there are few boxes you are shown in a figure. So first box is the one alphabet A to G specifying that lump size. In second box, the number 1 to 5 specifies the fluidability. In third box, one number 6 to 9 specify the abrasiveness. In next box, one alphabet H to K responding to the bulk density. And the last box, it shows one or more alphabets L to Z corresponding to the miscellaneous characteristics of the material. So let's see few standard codings. So in this here, the material characteristic lump size, then description of that lump size. If you consider a density material that like cement, the limit of characteristics a max up to 0.05 mm and the class is A. Okay, so similarly we have find out a few details about the type of what you can say when we specify the lump size. If it is a part, the component is dusty, powdered, granule, small size, what could be the size of that bulk, or uh, that is specified over here. So you have to choose a particular class to specify the lump size. If the granules we are using, then the class should be lump size class should be C. If the grain size is greater than 0.01 mm, then it should be the given into the class D. Okay, so carefully we have to select the class. Then fluidability also depend the angle of response and the average flow or different type of materials in between 1 to 5. Abrasiveness we have to define between 6 to 9 based on the, it is, if it is non abrasive then use 6, abrasive or low abrasive then you can say 7, higher abrasive or very abrasive that 8, and if it has a sharp edges then it is called as it is mentioned in 9 category. So about the bulk density, similarly it is classified into J to H is as shown in table. Then miscellaneous characteristics is depend upon the other parameters, that is explosive, stickiness, then corrosiveness, uh, hygroscopic, etc., etc. So based on this, you can give the proper classify it between L to Z. So few materials with the bulk material and their codes. If you consider alumina, the density is in between 800 kg per meter cube to 1040 kg meter cube. It normally work on the angle of response of 22 degree, and it has a material code is B27M. Okay, so similarly you can identify the different codes for different materials. Now next one, we have to discuss about the main components of the hoisting equipment. So the hoisting mechanisms are usually powered equipment used for lifting and lowering the unit, varying the load intermittently. So for that, various components or equipments are generally used. We will discuss it one by one. So variety of equipment fall under the head of the hoisting equipment, starting from hoist, a different type of elevators and cranes. Then exception of elevators, these equipments generally utilize a drum, a rope, wire rope type, pulley type, and the load lifting attachments for performing the lifting and lowering motion. The hoisting equipment can be stationary or portable or traveling type. Often, these hoisting equipment are mounted on a powered vehicle like truck, rail, or ship when the moment of the lifted load is not limited or to be a fixed area of operation. So normally we seen on the roads that lifting cranes are available when our vehicle is stuck. They are using. So this is an example of that one. So we will discuss a few components which are used in hoisting equipment. So first one is a chain and chain sprocket. The type of chain used in a hoisting mechanism or equipment are welded chain, welded load chain, or roller chain. The welded chain are used in a low capacity hoisting machines as the main lifting appliance as sling for supporting load from the hook or other lifting attachment. Welding calibrated chains are employed as a hand-operated chain for driving the track wheels of hoisting and hand-operated overhead cranes, which it can be used. Also, these weld chain are manufactured by joining one gap of individual chain links by hammer hot forging or by resistance welding of 2.5 links. Resistance welding chains are most accurate and have increased strength rather than the forged one. Disadvantages of the welded chain are those are heavy in weight. Then while operating, it could gives the jerk and overload. Then heavy wear of links, low safe speed of movement, sudden failure can be occur without indication. Then flexibility in all direction is very less. Then possibility of using small size pulley and drum is very low. Simple design and manufacturing process. The diameter of welded chain pulley drum are in between 20 times the diameter of the rod of link. Okay. Second one is a roller chain. Roller chain are composed of the plate links hinged or joined by pins. The chains may be made of two plates or heavier duty with up to the 20 plates. The roller chains are used for both hand operated as well as electric over crane operated or driven operated. Uh, so these are better than the chain operated or welded chain operated. Second one, the sprocket and welding the sprocket with the okay. So in a figure number 3, the link with the welded links are how they can operate as shown over here. And in figure number 4, the sprocket type of how the link chain uh, that can be used for operating purpose as shown over here. The main aspect or main important thing is a steel wire or steel rope, because the rope are made from the steel cold drawn and specially heat treated up to ultimate strength up to the 130 to 200 kg per mm square. The number of wires are twisted to make into the strands, and the number of such strands are twisted over the core made of the hump absorber or wire of softened steel. The construction detail of the breaking strength of the steel wire rope are specified in Indian Standard IS 2020 2266 1989. The steel ropes are generally a special purpose we are using. The few cross sections you can seen in a figure. So first one, 6 by 7 construction with the fiber core, 8 to 12 diameter. Here, if you look, uh, the full wire contains 6 strands and each strand has 7 wires. So 6 by 7, it indicates that 6 number of strands are made with the rope, and in a single strain there are number of ropes are or number of wires are 7. So similarly it is changes. Now if you consider third number, 6 by 19, so 6 strands are generated and each strand made from 19 wires, 19 small wires. So similarly the various different cross sections has been generated over here. So major advantages of steel rope compared to the chain or different type of or you can say link is a it steel ropes are lighter in weight than flexible of operation. Load can be lifted with the connecting rope, making a large angle with the vertical. Greater reliability of operation. Then rope does not give any sudden uh, uh, failure. The outer layer of the wire ropes undergoes intensive wear and always break from outside. It gives prior warning for changing the rope before complete failure. Wire rope is a less susceptible or to the damage from jerk, where which is a very common in a hoisting mechanism. These are the which is the drawback of that linked type or welded type links and chain mechanism. Although the wire loops wire of fails or can say failure in chain occurs suddenly when the wire ropes and the outer wire are subjected more intensive wear and the break before inner wires. So as a result, the wire rope becomes fuzzy long before rupture and which is immediately replaceable. So the crane operated in a dry premises utilize rope made of a bright wire. The rope intended for operation in a damp uh, premises or are galvanized, because the manufacturing of rope is a very important now, because these material normally the material used are steel wire and greater strength it have. The process of manufacturing, that is a heat treated or cold drawn with the highly impact mechanical properties. uh, Normally the bright wire are also used to manufacturing the ropes. So long lifting capacity of the rod with the galvanized wire can be about 10% lower due to the tempering effect of the hot zinc coated. If you galvanize the rope wire, the capacity get lesser, 10% less if we are using tempered and hot zinc coated wire rope. So these are the two different aspects uh, based on the type of wire rope we are using. Then steel wire ropes are manufactured by a special machine. First, separate the wires are twisted into the strand. Okay, as shown in figure number 2, the core steel of the fiber, then wire, the core wire strands are shown over here. Also, the different type of lathes, how it can mix. So the first separated wire are twisted into the strands as shown in figure, and then the strands are formed into the round rope. Both processes produce simultaneously. The strands are laid on the core made up of hemp, absorbers, or wire of softened steel. An absorber or a wire core is used for ropes subject to the action of radiant heat. However, the wire core reduces the flexibility of the wire of the rope, in the view of which the metal cores are ordinarily used. Only when the ropes are subjected to high compression, for example, when they wounded on the drum in a several layers, at that time we can use absorber as a core material. About the wire lays, um, rope wire formed from the stand are known as a double lay rope. They are most popular used in a hoisting machineries. What are the different lays? First, cross or regular lay, as shown in figure. The regular or can say cross ray ropes find a greatest application. Such ropes are constructed such that the direction of the twist of the wire in the stand is opposite to that of the stand in the rope. You can see in a figure. Second type is a parallel or Lang's lay rope. In a parallel lay rope, the direction of the twisting of the wire in the strand is the same as that of the stand in the rope. These ropes are made more flexible, resistant wear more effectively. However, they are retained to the spin, so there is a possibility of spinning. Paralleling laid ropes are employed in a lifting and the other hoisting, like with the guideways, because there is a possibility of twisting. Third one, composite or reverse laid. In the rope with the reverse lay, the wire in a two adjacent strands are twisted in the opposite direction. Besides, the direction of the lay of rope can be either right or left hand. So it is normally or frequently use the right hand lay rope in general practices. Then with the general type of ropes, or you can say general purpose steel ropes, there are manufactured with the three different ways. First one is a ordinary construction. Secondary is a Warrington compound rope, and third one is a compound construction with the sealed type. So these such different type of ropes are normally used. In examination, you will ask about the designation and the manufacturing process. What are the failure modes of the rope? Normally, rope are fail in a tensile, as well as we can say uh, uh, tensile strength, and it is loading and unloading is often frequently. Then it can be fail in a cyclic load also, but tensile load is a major load. Then second few components which we can see: a steel drum, steel rope, and steel drum. So these steel drums are normally used as in a right side hand. You can see the total assembly of EOT crane, where the steel drums are used to round up. The rope drums are normally as shown in a figure, that they are usually in a plane with the hinge with the high flange to enable the rope to be wound in the several layers. This enable the length of the drum is to be reduced considerably. The rope drum is selected from the sum ratio that the diameter of slave is okay, I can say the diameter of slave capital D is greater than the 10 times the diameter of the shaft. The drums for a steel rope wire are made from cast iron. More rarely, the steel casting or weldments are used as the size is very huge or the loading capacities should be greater or any environmental condition. Based on that, the steel cast or weldments are used. With the regards to the friction in the bearings, the efficiency is to be considered as a 95%. The drum diameter depend upon the diameter of rope. With the power drive, the drum should always be provided with the helical grooves so that the rope winds up uniformly and it less subjected to wear. The radius of helical grooves should be selected so that to prevent the jamming of the rope condition. So generally the permissible value of the grade which the cast iron or material which we are using are gray cast iron, and these grades are 15 to 32. And about the steel casting, the we, strength which we are using is 160 Newton per meter square. Okay. When we say drums, some fastening materials or fasteners we have to use. The fastening by means of a set of screws, the core opening is provided in the body of the cast drum and the end of the rope inserted in the opening. So, descriptively or with respect to the how we can design, we will discuss this aspect while designing. Okay. Next one, pulley and pulley system. It's a very important thing with respect to the design aspect. So there are two type of pulleys. That is a fixed pulley and movable pulley. So when you select a fixed pulley, the pulley is fixed and the force is application is shown in a figure number 2 where the pulley is sorry, figure number 1 where the pulley is fixed, and the when pulley is movable, then the forces which is applied, uh, we have to apply in a both way, on a pulley also and on a rope also. So simply we can say a fixed pulley having fixed axles, as also called as a guide pulley, as they help to change the direction of the flexible element that is the wire rope. In case of hoisting mechanism, the use of each pulley increases the pulley effort, or you can say pulling effort on the rope. Because of the resistance offered by the pulley, the pulley resistance arises out of the resistance of the rope to be bending over the pulley and the frictional resistance in the pulley bearings. When we are using a multiple or movable pulley, it have a movable axis axles to which either a load or effort is applied. According, there are two applications of the movable pulley. First, for a gain, in a force, and second for gaining in speed. The two applications of movable pulley, which is shown in a figure number 5. Next one is a pulley system. The combination of several movable and fixed pulleys or sheaves, the intended to achieve a gain in a force or a gain in a speed. It is called as a pulley system. In a pulley system, we can use movable as well as fixed pulley to get uh, a particular force or a particular speed, to maintain a particular speed. So in a figure number 6 shows a few pulley system employed for gain in a force. In a simple pulley system, the simple pulley is mounted on one shaft. The shortcoming of direct suspending a load from the rope end or from the employing supply a simple pulley for gain in a force during the hoisting load are different part of rope are in a one plane, and this may allow load to swing freely at the right angle to the angle of rope. Because of the coiling of rope in a drum along with its length, the load is also moves in a horizontal direction. So that's why by using a multiple pulley system, these shortcomings which we discuss, that shortcomings can be avoided, especially in electrical driven, which electrical driven winch or crane hoisting mechanism, or that is a EOT crane. The load is raised in a strictly vertical direction and with such less tendency of swinging or swagging. With the use of multiple pulley system, the force acting on the rope are reduced and the size of rope also get reduced. Then consequently, the size of diameter get reduced. The this reduces the size and weight and cost of the entire mechanism, which is shown in figure number 7. The multiple pulley system used for gain in force. In the multiple pulley system, the load is hung from more than one pulley mounted on the common shaft. In this system, two ends of the wire rope are fixed on the drum or two drums with the right and left hand helical grooves. The rope passes from one half of the pulley system to the other by means of um compensating pulley, which simultaneously equalize the length of the rope parts when they are stretched uniformly. So this is an advantage of the multi-pulley system than the single pulley system. If you are using multi-pulley system, then the advantage you can say optimize the all the dimensions, as well as you can reduce the dimension of the whole mechanism of EOT crane with same capacity. Next one, uh, arresting gears and brakes. Why we are using such? Because brakes are very important whenever the load is moving in a downward direction. If you want to stop immediately, we have to apply brake on the shaft. Or you can say in the hoisting mechanism, the use of arresting gears or brakes is of paramount importance to prevent the raised load from the getting lowered of its own weight, and then the raising effort is withdrawn. Okay, you can shown in a figure the line diagram of a electromagnetic brake and thrust brake. The brakes are usually used for a dual purpose, for holding the suspended load at the rest, for controlling the speed of lowering of load. Some of these brakes can be operated while sometimes automatically, and operated brakes are include shows, band, cone, disc, etc., etc. In few cases, centrifugal brakes are also used. Action of operation brake may be through pulling a hand or by pressing a paddle, which are depend upon the designer. Next one, the load handling attachments. Now it is a very important component in this attachment. We look hook, grabs with the different types, grab brackets, ladders, electromagnets, etc. So generally we are using a hook and snatch block assembly, which is shown in everywhere. Okay, so this assembly we have to design in our design section. So generally we just see the different type of attachments which are used. We focusing only on hook. The common method of lifting unit by hoisting equipment is to be sling the load by chain rope and suspended it from the hook of hoisting equipment to facilitate handling of load by hook. Many manufacturing goods or packages are provided with the hooking facilities. For example, a ring, bell, holes, etc. After the forging and machining operation, the hooks are annealed. The inner diameter of the hook should be sufficient to accommodate two strands or of chain or wire rope. The load is always carried by the four element slings with the two loops. The body of hook is generally trapezoidal in cross section, with it end at the top in a round section working under the tension. The top part of the stang is threaded for suspension from the crosspiece. Hooks are mandatorily to be tested under the tension load and got certified before use. So the suspended hook, or you can say assembly, as shown in figure. The cylindrical strang portion are generally fitted to be by crosspiece provided with the machine tourneurs at the end. If the hook is fitted with the thrust bearing resting on the crosspiece at the top, the hook may be rotated freely even with the load. The crosspiece is pivoted in the side plates of the casting, usually reinforced with stamps and shackles made up of plain steel. Two or more rope pulleys or sleeves may be mounted on the extended tunings of the crosspiece. Multiple pulleys may be fitted in the casting as shown in figure. For few of many different arrangements of the suspending hooks with the crosspiece and the casting of the sleeves. Okay, so this is the basic theory related to uh, material handling equipment. Okay, in from next lecture onwards, we will start our designing the EOT crane. How we can design, how can, so which material for which part we can use. Also, we have to discuss the failure modes of each component and each part so that we can design it properly. Okay, I hope you will understood this theory. It's quite what you can say, uh, difficult to understood, but when we start our design, I will explain again how the theory is correlated with the design. Okay, so thank you very much for joining. If you have any doubts, you can call me or WhatsApp me. Okay, thank you very much.